Hey y'all, I'm just vibrating right now. The energy that's happening is just so strong. And it had nothing to do with that I was in 495 traffic around DC, surprisingly. I've actually, you're, you're going to be watching me process a lot here right now because there's a ton of downloads going on. There's a lot of aha moments for me and everything. So just bear with me. We're going to have some fun because there's just so much going on energetically right now. But first off, before I dive in, just join me in getting back into your body, pat yourself, bring yourself back into, because it's very lofty energy. It's very high crown and third eye pineal gland energy that's going on right now. So right now I'm tapping along some of the meridians and just breathe deeply. Okay, so what's going on? First off, we are in the full supermoon of Aquarius, moving into Leo season, and it is the first of two full moons this month, both that are supermoons. The second one is considered a blue moon, and it is in the full moon in Pisces, which is my energy. I always get a little squirrely around the full moon in Pisces for sure. But that's part of it. It's like I haven't until kind of recently gotten into astrology per se. Like I've been on the outskirts of it, but I've never really truly understood how to read charts and stuff like that. But I just started dipping my toe into studying about the moon and stuff like that, the seasons, why we even have the astrological signs, Pisces, Leo, Aquarius, Sagittarius, all of those. Like I knew about the stars and stuff like that, but I never understood why we had all of these meanings and per se, like the different way that moon cycles affect people and stuff like that. So, about the past 2 years, I had started sort of tiptoeing my way through cycle tracking and stuff like that using the moon cycles. And I started finding repetition. Like I knew that every year we go through the same astrological signs, and the same moons pop up and stuff like that. But I had never really unpacked that they have different meanings because of what's going on energetically, right? I know this is not making any sense, but like I said, processing things. But back, I guess, October through December of last year, I started drafting a prototype for a eco-spiritual lunar tracking day planner, basically, because very few day planners have everything that I want or need in them. And so I just started picking and choosing and combining things, and one weekend I just put some design work together and I started creating a draft, which 2024 I will be sharing with y'all. So hopefully I'll have a downloadable version as well as one that's cohesive with like iPads and stuff like that. Still in the works, but I started finding that they're energetically not only with the wheel of the year, stuff going on, because like today we are celebrating Lammas, or I'm awful at the Celtic pronunciations. I can't even speak English hardly. So I'm working on that. I don't know. I'm not even going to try it, but Lammas. It is a harvest celebration. And so it's like Thanksgiving, but Thanksgiving was put way late in our modern, at least USA, calendar. It should be more between the 1st of August and sometime around the fall equinox. So you'll probably see me posting, gratitude post through this period of time. And it's sort of just a little bit shifted, because like Samhain is technically New Year's on the wheel of the year, and then ours is 2 months later. And so it's kind of like we're kind of shifted on the calendar from what the original Agorian wheel of the year sort of calendar is. But for some reason, I picked some keywords to go into this calendar thing that I was creating to reel it back in. And for this month, it was daring and gratitude. And the previous months were like all about building boundaries and, watering the new growth, the seeds that we had planted in spring. They're now coming to harvest and all of that. And the daring part of things just did not really make sense. But I was like, okay, we'll just keep going because things keep unveiling themselves. We have to trust, right? And so as the year has been progressing, there's been so many aha moments, whether it's other podcasters or social media creators that work in the same vein as me. Basically, we're all saying the same thing at the same time without planning it. It's really wild. And I feel like that there's, I don't understand cosmic energies and how it can even affect. In fact, I don't even think that our star charts should impose as much on our identity as we allow them. And I'll probably be sharing a little bit more about that later. But I feel like some people just make their astrological sign their whole identity. And we have free will. Guess what? We have free will. But that is not the only thing that affects our personality, and I'll dive into that totally deeper in a different video. But back to the calendar thing, that daring element had not revealed itself. And for some reason, throughout June and July, I was just having a lot of energy of we need to release, we need to get rid of some stuff and shed the old self so that we can step into the new self. And then I start hearing more about the Lion Gate portal that is happening now as we move into Leo season. And, I've heard, on the periphery, I've heard of the Lion Gates portal in the past, but never really understood it or anything. But I feel like that this year specifically, there's a greater combination with all of these celebrations and stuff popping in together with the full moon, the super full moon right now and all of that. I feel like that it has really amplified some of the previous years. I've seen this reoccurring year after year, but never really knew how to tap into this energy or even understand it. And it's revealing itself so quickly to me right now. Whether it's from, spirit downloads or, just some of the readings and other people's guided messages and stuff like that. But the main thing is, like, even I'm about to hop on and talk about the group that I'm leading through the Artist's Way. Like, all of the things that I have been building to on social media, in my group and on my Patreon and stuff like that, has all been where we are shedding this outdated belief in trying to tap into our authenticity, and discarding old feelings that we had, and how if we keep affirming the bad, negative self-talk, instead of starting to shift the mindset into actually believing in ourselves. Because ultimately, if we don't have belief in ourselves, we can't do the thing, even if we're trying to fake it till we make it. And it's not like, sometimes you just have to get the ball rolling, yes, but you're supposed to be able to gain confidence as you go, right? But sometimes when we're faking it till we make it, we still have imposter syndrome. That's the ego, that's the inner critic popping in. And see the energy, I'm telling you, back into my body. It's just like, there is so much right now that is pointing toward, we need to stop staying in this cookie cutter box society and start shedding this old self and stepping into our truest, most authentic selves. And through that, even the tarot card reading that I did earlier today for my Patreon followers, a collective Sabbath reading, it was indicating that, we are, I'm trying to remember, it was Ace of Wands, Four of Wands, Tower, Death, Six of Wands, and the High Priestess. And it was just like, okay, you have all of this energy, you have all this potential, and you've heard me talk about potential being dangerous, but you have all of this new growth and everything, this new person that you're fostering, right? Even within yourself or your community. And then you have so many other people that you have built your community around. And all of that is great. But when we're constantly giving, and not taking care of ourselves, we're heading toward a tower moment, right? And that it doesn't mean that we're going to upset the whole entire apple cart. But it's, in this case specifically, it's telling us to remember that self-care, self-love is necessary and first, before we put all of the energy into our creative outlets, or giving and volunteering in our community and stuff like that, right? And then the Death card come in, and it was, and I'll share the tarot deck description, because it was specifically a Lammas spread, but it was all about harvest and all about like gathering the grain, milling the grain, kneading the grain. Kneading was where what nourishment, or where can I embed this helpfully into my life? How can I embed all of this new energy, this creation energy, and this celebratory community energy into my life in a healthy way, right? And that was the Tower. And that Tower, a lot of times people were like, oh no, and followed by death. Holy cow. But that was, but I love those cards so much for so many different meanings, because it's not all about the doom and gloom, right? It's about the change. And sometimes we have to see a tower moment. We have to get down into the dirt and be at our absolute lowest to understand. And, after have had many of those myself, I'm seeing how this can happen. You know, you're on output so much that if you don't take care of yourself, including showing up as your most authentic self, and then also building boundaries and shifting your mindset so it's in alignment and congruency with how you're showing up, aka maybe you need to shift a job or get out of a relationship or something like that, because you are not living your fullest potential. If you feel like you're having to drag along and, you know, it's beyond just the normal tired, it's like everything in your whole entire body is telling you that you need a change, and it's like slogging through and you're in complete burnout, or your buoyancy isn't filling up. That's when you need that tower moment. And before you completely do that, you have to, you know, instead you want to catch it before it turns into the tower. Basically, you don't want all of the tower to come crumbling down, in other words. And then that moved into the death card, and it's culmination. It's the end of a cycle, right? And especially in that moment, it's also about evolution. It's about transformation. It's about the shedding of the old self. And today is what? You know, not only are we celebrating and we're shedding all at the same time. We've got the Lion's Portal, we have the full moon, all of that. Like, it's this huge shift. And I think that's why I'm so excited about it. And like, at this time with all the downloads, it's like I can't do my work fast enough, you know, because like I can't wait to share all of this. And, you know, I had these really awesome conversations with my client this morning, and, you know, this whole weekend was just this, we had the drum circle, I had a vendors event beforehand, and it was just, you know, all this great energy. And before that was all of July's like, this is heavy. I don't know what this energy is. And now it's like it's coming to a boil, and it's like all this wonderful energy. So after the death card, and we're unveiling, we're basically coming out of our cocoon as we build our authenticity and our congruency and start showing up as our most authentic self with boundaries and all of that. We are this butterfly expanding out of the cocoon. That Leo energy, we can show up, right, as that full-on proud lion, lioness, whatever energy, the divine feminine or masculine that you connect with. Or maybe you're trying, like me, to get the pendulum to swing somewhere in the middle, and you're able to balance both. But within all of that, then you had the Six of Wands. And I haven't seen that card in a really long time, and I was second guessing myself while I was doing that reading. And I went and started looking it back up, and I was like, so I was right, especially within all of that. I was like, I'm pretty sure this is, guiding some people or something, but I'm not sure where it's falling. But as while looking at all of the other cards here, it definitely has that energy, because it's this proud person with a wand, a spike, a staff, with a wreath on top of it. They're proud on top of a horse, and then you see a crowd below them and a lot of other staffs, but you really don't see any other person other than the one on the horse, right? And I was like, I don't know why I'm getting this information, but it's like there's been a struggle. For some reason, indication from the Tower card to the Death card to that, there was the struggle. You've been stepping into your own, you've been discarding stuff and everything, because you are meant to be a leader of some sort. And it doesn't mean even, like doing these grand gestures and being a huge leader. It can literally just be within your family. It can be with your kids. It can be with your family, your partner. It can be with your parents and stuff like that. We all lead in some form or fashion, whether it's, we have students or we have friends and work companions and stuff like that. We can all share light and love and, change and peace and happiness in this world, right? We actually have that power because we consciously make that choice every day. And then here comes the high priestess in with how can I best serve my community? And that was it. She's got these balances of the two columns on both sides. She has the crescent moon at her feet and the radiant crown. And she's, surrounded by pomegranates. I was using the Smith Waite deck. And it, it's quite traditional styling, but it's a little bit, I just like the art style, the illustration style really well. Now I couldn't find my Lord of the Rings deck. That's what the one that I got at Christmas. But yeah, that was what I was planning on using, but I grabbed what I could get. And she's embodying that full divine self. I am full and in my own power, and I'm the leader. So, take whatever that was, in your own interpretation of it, and I'll provide more information in the show note, or the caption below the show notes, whatever. But, yeah. I want to know if you're feeling all of this energy and stuff too, if any of that made sense, or you've had similar downloads or aha moments. But yeah, it's been really weird, especially the past couple of weeks, because I've been having this ongoing conversation with myself and a little bit on Facebook about how affirmations won't work if the intention, we're staying in intention and we haven't moved to full belief. And I've been met with some confusion, or even people not agreeing with me, which is totally fine. And that's what I'm doing it for, is to get different points of view and to see what's going on. But what I've found is, in my brain, it's so much more nuanced than just telling people, hey, if you believe in yourself, then you'll have confidence. Because confidence is just a feeling, but we have to be able to actually put belief behind it. And that's why I was talking about earlier with the, if we fake it till we make it, and we never, have enough proof that we're good at something, we'll stay small. We'll stay in an imposter syndrome instead of fully moving into the power that we really have inside of us. And because oftentimes we're not we're not in our authenticity. And that's why I want to start unpacking a little bit more about the formation of identity and how our authenticity sometimes gets shifted and clouded because of other, outside influences and stuff like that. And it's just, there's so much there. So I don't know if this is making sense to anybody. I don't even really care. I feel like that, somebody's going to get something from it. And if I'm this excited about it, then there's other people experiencing it as well. But yeah, I'm really excited to get started with this. The group has officially opened, and we're starting the introduction section of it now because it cannot be skipped. But hopefully, if you don't join me this round of the Artist's Way, I will definitely be hosting more in the future. So, and anyway, I've got a class to prepare for them in the ceramics glaze room right now. But yeah, ground yourself with all of this full moon energy, this full super moon. Deep breaths so you don't float away like I've been feeling. And I'll talk with you beautiful people later.